Hey guys, how's it going? And welcome to another Total War Warhammer 2 online commentary. So for this battle, we're actually going to be playing as Norsca, and we are going to be going up against the Empire. So Norsca, as you can see here, is going to be led by Wulfric the Wanderer, and he is on top of his fiery chaos horse there. And Wulfric's a great pick against the Empire. He's a duelist and a melee expert, and he's armored and shielded, so he'll be pretty tanky. He's got great combat stats: 70 attack, 50 defense, 490 weapon strength, and one of his best abilities, he's got the Hunter of Champions, which is it's like a little hex spell he can put on an enemy hero or lord, and it's minus 48% speed, 30 armor, like minus 30 armor and minus 45 melee defense, so it makes him super like slow and vulnerable, and he can usually kind of goot him out with his high weapon strength when he casts that. And then we've got backing him up a Skinwolf Werekin. And this guy's just a really powerful like anti-large damage dealer specialist. He's got frenzy, he's got regeneration too, which is huge. He's just going to be constantly regenerating health. He's got armor piercing anti-large, like I said, 53 melee attack. He does only have 32 melee defense, which isn't the highest, but it's still good enough. And he's just a really powerful offensive sort of, bodyguard sort of unit for a hero like Wulfric. Over here on the right flank, we've got a group of Norsca Ice Wolves, and these guys, especially against the Empire, are super good. They're really fast with 95 speed. They've got 26 melee attack, which is pretty good, 42 weapon strength, which is fantastic. But on top of that, they have this ability called Frostbite, where any unit they kind of get some bites off on, it'll slow them down by 36%, because I guess they have like icy teeth or something, which is pretty cool. It makes them super good at kind of chasing down, like routing handgunners and stuff like that. For a front line, it's going to be 4 groups of just normal marauders with a few chevrons put into them, and these guys are great against the Empire because you can go real wide with them, which is always good against the Empire, and they have shields. So any like handgunner fire or crossbows or Sterlin's revenge shots are gonna kind of get absorbed into these guys' shields, which is good because in the back we've got 2 groups of Marauder Berserkers with looks like a chevron in each of them, a couple in these guys over here. So yeah, 2 of these guys, they only have 15 armor, so they're going to be kind of squishy, but they've got great leadership. They've got frenzy. They have an anti-infantry bonus and a weapon strength of 57, which is huge. Melee attack of 49, which is also huge. The only thing is they don't have the best armor piercing, but they're really good at cutting through like Imperial swordsmen and spearmen, and if they can get on handgunners too, that's going to be really good. Right here in the middle, we've got a Famir Bale Fiend with the Lore of Shadows, which is great against the Empire. You can get the Pendulum on their formations, and Enfeebling Flow to weaken their heroes and lords, Melkoth to slow down the cav and do damage, stuff like that. And Pit of Shades is also great against blobbed up formations of infantry and stuff. And then over here on the far side, we have back here we have a second group of the Norscan Ice Wolves, and then over here we got 2 groups of the Marauder Horsemasters. So these are like the upgraded Marauder Horsemen, and they're not pushovers in melee. They got 26, 26, 24 for their combat stats, and charge bonus of 30, which ain't bad, but they have 37 missile damage, 90 range, which is okay. They have okay armor piercing, but I think... Oh, interesting. I feel like these guys used to have a bonus versus large or something, but I guess not. But anyway, they do still do great damage against large targets. And then over here we got 2 groups of the Marauder Horsemen with throwing axes. So these are the variant with throwing axes, which means they have armor piercing, but they have a shorter range at 70. And that's it for Norsca. For the Empire, we're going to have 1 group of Outriders with grenade launchers, actually. So you don't get to see these guys very often. They're pretty good in the Norsca matchup, honestly. I like to see these guys. They have really high missile damage, excuse me. But okay, it looks like they have 15 explosive armor piercing, but still, I feel like these guys usually don't do great against armored targets, from what I've seen. Yeah, maybe against armored infantry they'd be good. I just don't see them very often. I haven't really ever used them to great effect, but we'll see how these guys do. Over here, up here flying in the sky, we've actually got Karl France, and he's going to be riding his Pegasus, and he's definitely one of the best duelists in the game. He's super good. He's, get a good shot. He's got Gal Maraz, which when he pops it, it's like 40 seconds of a bonus versus large, 40% armor piercing damage, which is really good. He's got 100 armor. The only thing is he's a bit of a glass cannon. Even though he's got that armor, he's only got 43 melee defense and 3,900 hit points, which is not a huge amount for a duelist lord. So he'll do great damage, but he's really not the tankiest lord. So you kind of gotta be careful in that respect. For his front line, it looks like he's got two groups of swordsmen, and one of those is the ROR swordsmen, who are Sigmar's sons. These guys are amazing, especially in the Norsca matchup. They're unbreakable. They have great combat stats. They're going to be holding for Sigmar all day. In the back here, he's got the Tattersouls, which are the ROR flagellants. They're unbreakable. They do fire damage. They have no armor, so they're kind of like the Marauder Berserkers. They fill the kind of the same role. They're really good at cutting through lightly armored infantry and that kind of stuff. And then he's got a warrior priest supporting them. And this guy, he's got battle prayers. He's armored. He's got the hammer of Sigmar and all these like AOE buffs that he can use to kind of buff all of his friendly troops fighting nearby. And he imbues fire damage. I think, yeah, with this Banner of Eternal Flame, which is good against Norsca. He's got a group of halberdiers. These guys are great at, fighting armored large targets that, like Famir, and that kind of stuff. Over here, yeah, he's got a second group over there, so two halberdiers. And then it looks like he has three groups of handgunners. One of those is the Silver Bullets, which are the ROR handgunners. They're really good. They have stock, so I can't see them right now. They do magic damage, armor piercing, super good. Same with the handgunners. Did I forget anything? It looks like he also has, oh yeah, so he's got this Grey Wizard, the sort of off-brand Gandalf the Grey. He's got, yeah, he has access to the Lore of Shadows, and he brought the Penumbral Pendulum, the Withering, which lowers armor and like leadership, and then Pit of Shades, which is like a big stationary vortex spell that's good against armor and infantry, that kind of stuff. I never noticed the Grey Wizard was wearing sandals. I don't know why, I just think that's really funny. Just running into battle with sandals. Alright, what else? I think, yeah, last but not least, we've got the Demogryph Knights with halberds, and these are just like really effective, tanky, armored, sort of anti-large cavalry for the Empire. They got 32, 30, 52 for their combat stats, and armor piercing and anti-large, which is really good. 125 armor, they're super tanky. Only 24 models though, that's kind of the only downside, is their model count's actually pretty low for like a shot cavalry unit, but they're still super effective. Alright, I think that's everything. So it looks like over here we got a little engagement off with the Outriders with grenade launchers. And it was kind of an even trade. I didn't think these guys would take that much damage, but they did. But we still got a good damage on these Outriders, and we got the throwing axes coming in, so it was a pretty even trade. But we're also going to be trying to move these Norscan Ice Wolves sort of behind the grenade launchers, just to sort of corral them into a trap here, just to kind of get these guys around this way and trap and cut off these Outriders. And then over here, we're almost kind of doing the same thing with these Ice Wolves. We're trying to lure his Demogryph Knights into a fight with the Skin Wolf and Wulfric, which is definitely going to favor Wulfric in them, but it looks like he is noticing what I'm doing, so he's kind of pulling out at the last second, which is a good move on his part, definitely. He is going to start advancing. It looks like his handgunners are trying to focus down these Ice Wolves, and man, look at that. These guys actually have 15 armor, so that armor piercing isn't totally coming into play, but they're still doing so much damage. And yeah, those grenade launchers are getting in, so I'm trying to pull these guys back, but they're probably going to rat off in a second here. But I am going to start sending in the Marauder Horsemen to kind of just poke and prod his front line a little bit and his back line, just kind of throwing in javelins at these halberdiers, just kind of getting whatever damage value I can off of these guys, which is good because these guys only have 30 armor and they don't have shields, so they're going to be a great target for the Horsemasters. And over here, I'm just kind of sweeping around with the Norscan Ice Wolves, kind of leading his Demogryph Knights on a bit of a wild goose chase, because these guys do have the speed advantage. And again, we're going to sort of get that trap off here on the grenade launchers, which is good. He got a Penumbral Pendulum over here, which didn't do the most damage, kind of clipped my Marauders here, and it looks like we are going to have the Tattersouls, the Swordsmen led by Battle Priest, going up against these Marauders, and these Marauders are not long for this world. I mean, they do have these Berserkers, though, supporting, which is going to help, but we've kind of got a situation where his Warrior Priest is a little bit vulnerable here. He's kind of trapped in melee combat, so we are going to pop the Hunter of Champions on here, which is all these like magical ice spikes over his head, and Wulfric and the Skin Wolf are going to come charging in. Look at that. Oh man, that was so cool. Wolfric and the Skin Wolf are just going to start laying a royal whooping on this Battle Priest. He isn't long for this world. My opponent does get a Pit of Shades over here, which is really good. It's going to hit my Berserkers and do a ton of damage. These guys have like no armor, so they're going to get tossed around. And yeah, poor guys. They're getting absorbed by this magical... That reminds me of when Davy Jones like opens the zipper in SpongeBob and he like throws Squidward in. Sorry, I'm getting sidetracked. So yeah, the Battle Priest, the Warrior Priest is kind of routed off, but Carl is going to get a huge rear charge on Wolfric, and I have to be careful. Look at that damage he's doing. He's doing so much, and Carl versus Wolfric is a bit of a classic matchup, but Carl will win every single time in a 1v1. Carl will decimate Wolfric. So this is not the best situation. The Demogryph Knights kind of got in on a rear charge. But Wolfric, it looks like, has... Wolfric is pretty soon here going to be able to... Oh, and it looks like he's going to try and... Yeah, he's going to try and pull back and get in some cycle charges in. But the frontline engagement is starting to go in my favor. The Berserkers are berserking all over the Tattersouls. Those Swordsmen are breaking. The Balefiend is actually kind of, you know, cutting up these Halberdiers, even though this is not a good matchup for him. He's going to be Melkoth-ing them, which is going to debuff their speed, and he's just going to kind of run away. Looks like I forgot to give these Norsca Ice Wolves an order, so they're just kind of sitting around, not really doing anything. My mistake. But yeah, his backline's super compromised. I managed to get his my Marauder Horsemen and all my Ice Wolves into his Handgunners, and you know the Halberdiers are just getting overwhelmed. They just can't really stand up to all these horses and wolves and horrible Norscan monsters. These halberds are going to be kind of peeling into support, but they're just going to get surrounded. You know, they're going to get recharged by the Ice Wolves, and their leaderships just kind of break pretty quickly. But up here, it looks like we managed to rout off... Yeah, Battle Pilgrims... Or sorry, Warrior Priest is still routing off. Grey Wizard is kind of getting caught up among these Berserkers, which is not where he wants to be. And the Ice Wolves are going to be biting him and applying Frostbite, so he's going to be slowed. And it looks like we got a good Melkoths off the Demogryph Knights, and yeah, it looks like that's actually going to be army losses. And I think... Sorry, I think I missed it, but I think Carl might have died. Because I don't see him. And I didn't see him rout off. I think we might have caught Carl with the Sword of Torgald and the 100 of Champions. I think we might have just, you know, in support with the Norscan Ice Wolves and the Skin Wolf, I think we managed to just kind of kill him. Yeah, I think he must have died. I don't see him anywhere. But yeah, good game. Let's take a look at the builds. My opponent played very well. Yeah, let's take a look at these builds real fast. I think... Let's see, so... I don't know. Yeah, Grey Wizard's good. Warrior Priest is good. I think... let's see. The Handgunners were good. I honestly think, you know, he didn't know I was going to do this. For all he knew, I could have gone with a really armored, monster-heavy build, and I just didn't. I went with like a lightly armored, swarmy build with lots of Berserkers and Horsemasters and Ice Wolves. And, you know, knowing that, I think he would have been a bit better off maybe cutting... Let's see. Just like going a little bit wider. Well, here's the thing. I didn't have a lot of armor piercing in my front line. Like, I just had I just had like Marauders and Berserkers. So like, if he maybe cut these guys, maybe keep the Tattersouls and the Sigmar Sons, but maybe cut the Halberdiers and the Swordsmen, and then just bring one or two more Great Swords, and then like cut one or two of the Handgunners and get some maybe keep the Silver Bullets, cut the Handgunners, and get some Crossbowmen just to kind of focus down these Berserkers and get them routed off faster, and maybe also the Horsemen. Yeah, and the grenade launchers just didn't do a ton. I mean, they did a lot of damage in the beginning of the game, but I just feel like these guys always underperform. I would have cut these guys and maybe gotten like... Pistoliers actually would have been pretty good. Pistoliers would have been able to sort of kite and focus down some of my lightly armored horsemen. And again, against this specific build, I don't think Demogryph Knights with halberds were super effective. I mean, if he could have gotten us around on the Skin Wolf and Wolfric with the Demogryph Knights, like, and the Warrior Priest and Karl Franz, they would have won that fight. But you know, the Warrior Priest kind of just got routed off a little bit early, and yeah, it was a little bit staggered, but still, well played to my opponent. Super good game. Thanks for tuning into this one, guys. Hope you have a good one. Remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you later. Bye-bye.